An Angel's Request. Samut sat motionless, a silhouette that stared at the pouring rain. Droplets teased the window as he stares, deep in thought as the world seemed to pass him by. His eyes glued to the darkness as a flash of lightning cracked the open air, illuminating the deep city below. Samut knew what he was going to do, what he had to do. He mused to himself and the hunt he was on. This was why he was here, to draw out and finally kill the Child King. That was his plan. But how? His eyes wandered as the hour of nightfall started, seeing a star streaking from the heavens, even in the blackness of the storm that raged outside. His eyes drifted downwards, soft lines of a smile teasing his lips before his eyes landed on the White King's mask that sat on the window lip beside him, his body tucked into the corner of the window itself. He hadn't moved for hours, lost to the thoughts that plagued him, a frozen statue pondering a near impossible and improbable question. Where, oh where, is the answer I am searching for? Samut whispered to himself, taking his eyes off the mask and looking to the window as another bolt of lightning teased the air. Sammy, if you don't stop thinking, you will outthink me. A woman's almost pure, heavenly voice echoed through the room as a genuine goddess floated around the corner. Samut allowed another soft smile to tease his lips before a full smile spread as he stared. It was some miracle he, a mere normal man, had managed to gain the attention of Minerva, and yet there she was, naked and exposed in her mortal form, seeming to be shy for the first time in her life as he tried to take her in the low light. Long silk dress teases her shoulders as she smiles, taking him in for the first time in weeks. Samut had started to become almost translucently white from the power of the runes that were now inked to his skin. Each rune seemed to grow veins of power from the outlines of the runes itself. These veins slowly branched off in several directions before disappearing below the skin. Her eyes could never get over how, when it was dark and he had his top off, Minerva could see the various colors of power pumping through those veins, giving him the immense power and making him look like a rainbow of soft light in these bleak times. I hardly think a feat could be achieved by such a mere man as I. Samut blushed as he realized he was staring, and tried to be polite by turning away. You of all men. She walked over and raised his chin as the glow around her body softly disappeared, as he could only see, or as he could be the only light in the room. She stared into his eyes before slowly kissing him. Samut caught his breath as they separated. Turning with a quick and girly smile, Minerva slowly dropped her gown, taking a step back so he could see her easier as lightning kissed the skies once more. Samut could no longer hide the mile-long trail of blush that teased his cheeks along with the boyish smile. Do I make you so shy? Minerva mused. The man who dares challenge the Child King Blackrose. The man who dares stand against 4 black knights alone. Sammy interrupted before being interrupted. Trainees, if I had fought them as they are now, I do not know if I would have fared. A mortal man does not simply take on 4 trained vampires without blinking and still live. Her glow of frustration exploded from deep within her chest, causing Sammy's smile to widen. The air fell silent, and the rain picked back up before she took a deep breath and allowed herself to once again become mortal. He didn't know why she cared about his ego, but he loved it. When she grew frustrated with him about his self-doubt, any mortal man would have died when a black sister betrayed the trust of humans. You were right to fight against the king, but they were right to defend themselves as well. You needed them, and without them, you would not be here. She moved closer, her voice growing softer. You are now equals with the very kings you hate. Can that not be enough? At least for now? For tonight? With me? She moved closer, her body slowly swaying as she crossed the moonlight from the emerging storm. The rays of the moon teased her curves, causing Sammy to turn once again to compose himself before his eyes locked onto hers as she climbed onto his lap, teasing him with her presence. He adjusted to make it more comfortable as she smiled. For now, he whispered, as she let out a flirty smile, heading for the bed. But tomorrow, what I have seen, what I have learned in the underworlds, the answer we seek is not what the unseen offered me. It's different. The teacher is here in the city of Alexandria. He turned to look out over the massive port city as it recovered from the storm. I can feel them, he said, looking out over the window of the massive port city. Long lines of deep edges created the rings of the massive harbor leading from the mountain it was built into for miles below to the deep harbors that held hundreds of tri- and biremes, as well as some sailed were-animal ships from the north. Sammy, Minerva said as he turned to look at her. She softly bit her lower lip, her human emotion shining through as she laid out, completely exposing her soul and her body before whispering, I love you.